Hey, welcome back to edtech by Meera, and today we are going to do payment receipt calculator in Python. Okay, this is something which you do in real life. You're interested in buying something, you're interested in getting a payment receipt with a calculated receipt, price receipt. So let's see how it's done using a Python code. So first and foremost, you need to import the pretty table. Now, pretty table is actually a library which is used, this kind of module is used for getting a nicely aligned table, customized table, which you can use for such purpose like grocery store list, shopping store list, or shopping payment receipt, things like that in a tabulated form in a table with heading, columns, rows, and all that. So first and foremost, we create a variable called table because we need to get the receipt done in a table format with the price list and the price and then the total. So table. What do we store here? We store the item names, quantity, and the price. So for that, we need to use the function called pretty table. So that's a inbuilt function in Python. So pretty table function, and then inside that we write the string names because these are the headers for the receipt. Item name, quantity, and price. Remember, they are stringed because those terms are going to come up in the heading of the bill. And so this will be stored in the table variable. Then we create a variable total and initiate the value as 0 because we haven't total yet. We haven't created any values yet and items yet. So then we create the while true loop. As usual, the while true loop is always the one we do for using calculations and carrying out custom task in Python. So while true, inside that we create a variable. Now you can call it item name or you can just say item. In that we will store the item name. So this is user generated. So remember, you have to use the inbuilt Python function input. So input, enter the item name. By now you should be getting used to such terms the moment you see a project, how to make a user generated variable. So item is input, enter the item name. Then we have to create another variable called quantity, right? Because in the bill you also have, aside from the item name, you have quantity and price. So these are the variables you need to create. So quantity. Now the quantity, remember, it can be either kilos or numbers. So I just want to make life simple. So I just want to use numbers. So since it is numbers, using the input function, we use it inside the integer function, int. Because number has to be integer, cannot be a whole number, cannot be a decimal. Had it been kilograms, kilometers, or whatever, then it would have been float instead of int. Remember that. It won't be an integer, it will be float because it can be for decimals, kilometer, kilograms, all that, liters and all that, right? 3.5 liters, 3.5 kilograms, etc., etc. But here we're using just numbers. Okay, then we have another variable because in the header, the last item is the last header name that is placed in the header is price. So you also need the price in a bill, right, in a receipt. So price will be, now price can be in decimal. So we write float, input, enter the price. Again, it's all user generated. So float, input, enter the price in dollars or ringgits or rupees or whatever currency you want to write. So here I'm writing in dollars. That's my favorite currency. Ha ha. Everyone loves dollars. Okay. So now you also need to create a variable called total. Now you have to not only create a variable called total, but you need to give a formula for the machine to calculate it, for your code to calculate. Now what is going to be the total price? Use your basic calculation that you did in class 5 standard. So easy. So first and foremost, for every item you have the quantity in numbers, you have the price per item. So what is supposed to be the total price for that particular item? Quantity multiplied by price. Now again, plus total. Why? Because it gets accumulated. Let's say for item number 1, quantity into price, you have a total plus the initial value of 0 because initiated value 0. Second item will be that whatever total you calculated plus the total value of the first item. So then only you'll get the grand total, right? So you can also call it grand total, that's up to you. Okay, then after that, forget about the upgrade. I don't want Chat GPT, so I don't want to upgrade Replit. Okay, so total will be total plus quantity multiplied by price. That's how you get the grand total. Then after that, now once you do this, first you place the headers, then you created the variables to get the user generated values under the headers. Then after that you created the variable total and did the formula for that, the actual formula. You gave it, you fed it with the formula so that it will be automatically calculated. Then after that you need to add one more row, right? For which row is that? For the total row, because that was not added. So whenever you want to add a row, you say the table, because you already created the variable called table for the table. So table dot add row, and then add row is a function. So inside that you need to feed the parameters. So what all parameters you want it to be added. So the one will be whatever variables you've created. So you've created a variable item, you've created a variable quantity, you've created a variable price. So whenever, remember, you want to add a row, you need to just add in the parameters for the variables that you have created. Yeah. So now after that, you need to create also a variable called choice or options. Why? Because you want to know whether the user want to have the option or want to have the choice of adding more items to the table before they can quit. So that's why you create this variable called choice or options. Then after that, you create the if-else loop. So if choice equal to no, that means you break. So you just exit the program because you don't want to add any more items. However, if the answer is else, that means in the choice. Else means if the choice is going to be yes, it means that the reverse of no is yes, right? Then you continue. When you write continue, you already know it means the loop will continue. It won't exit from the loop. Then after that, you exit from this if-else loop, break off from there. Then you go to the next line and say you have to add another row finally. So first row was already created for the variables and all that. First few rows were created for the variables that you created. Then the last additional row will be created now, yeah, which is for the total row. So here table.add row, this is the last one. What you will be adding? Total as in a stringed one, that's the name of the final thing, that the total that it will show. Then the variables that you created was quantity and total will also be there. That means finally it will show the value of total, whatever was done according to the calculation formula you've given, the final total value will be shown based on the quantity that was provided. Then you print out the table, print function, using the print function, print the table. And then you can also print the statement, whatever is your the user's total amount is, string, comma, total. Remember, when we use print function for a statement, the stringed statement will be within the string, whatever sentence you want to say, the declaration, then comma, followed by total. Or you can also say, instead of comma, you can say plus total, but I prefer comma followed by total. It looks more professional to me. That's your choice. Comma followed by the variable total, because you want to tell the user that this is your total bill or total receipt amount. Yeah. So, hey, your calculation already done. That's quite amazing. The machine has done, or your app that you built, your Python app has already done the calculation for you, auto-generated. All you needed to do was create some variables, create the if-else loop, then kind of create the table, table using the pretty table with rows, add some rows, and then there you go. It's already done. So cool, right? And then here I'm showing just, remember the module and the library of the pretty table library that you imported, even without installing, just by using the import, it is already there in your dependencies. Sorry. So I'm just trying to find that out. And then I'll be doing so many more of such projects. Now remember, I'll be doing more of these projects first in order to get you into the hang of doing Python, how to make variables, which condition to make the variables, what variables to make, how to store the value in variables, how to make the if-else loop, how to do the while-true loop. So by now you should be acquainted so much that you don't need to Google anymore. You don't need to copy anyone's code. Haha, just kidding. Yeah, it's true. The more projects you do, simpler projects you do, you will be prepared to do more complex problem later on. You shouldn't just jump into complex one before. You should start with the simpler one, and not just one or two. Just do dozens and dozens of the simpler ones until you get the hang of it, until you are so comfortable with it that you just see the project and you can straight away start coding already. So once that can be done, after that we will go over to the more complex one, in which it needs more thinking, more analysis, more logical thinking, and such strategies, etc. So there you go. I've already imported the pretty table I showed you already in the dependencies. And now here I'm using the Replit, but you can use any code editor of your choice. Later I'll be also doing a tutorial on some code editor that you can use other than this. Okay, so for those who are already subscribed to my channel, stay subscribed. Thanks for staying subscribed, and thanks for being with me in your learning journey and waiting patiently for me to do all the projects with you. And I really appreciate that. Keep tuned for more interesting projects, and for those who are not yet subscribed, please do subscribe and push that bell button so that you are notified of each and every project that I'm doing. And do support me in this so that you also benefit by growing in your Python journey, and I also benefit by getting inspired to make more such free tutorials for you. And do not forget to take a look at the link that I'll be giving below, not only for the playlist for more such projects, but also in my newsletter. I'll be giving a link of the newsletter below in the description, where you can also subscribe to get additional documentation for different projects. Okay, I'm running my project, run, enter the item name, potato. I'm doing some grocery items, vegetables, etc. Price, so $4, quantity, numbers 5. So 4 into 5, 20, right? So potato, onion, chili, etc. I'm going to do carrots, potato, onion, carrots. Yeah, here you go. I keep on doing, entering the name, the price, and the quantity. There you go. Do you want to add more items? Every time will be prompted with that question. Yes. So when it says yes means you have to enter the item name, the quantity, and the price. Because from the item name and the quantity, you can calculate individual price. Individual price for that particular stated quantity. That's the idea. And then from there, calculate the grand total. Yeah, there you go. What a nice, see, potato, 5 into 4, 20, 2 into 3, 6, 9, 7, 63, 10, 9, 90. When you add all that, it's already 179. Simple mathematics, you don't need a calculator for that, I'm sure. Yeah, 20 plus 6 plus 63 plus 90 is already 179. But here, Python code does it for you. You don't need to calculate. So, see you in the next, and make sure you stay tuned for more and more interesting and complicated and complex projects made easy for a project-based Python learning experience, project based. Build more projects, learn more Python. You will only learn Python by building projects. See you in the next.